Alright, welcome back to another breakdown video. Today we're doing the Jacksonville Jaguars, so let's get started. Last season, pretty good season overall. You had the Trevor Lawrence breakout, Doug Peterson obviously a huge upgrade over Urban Meyer. 9-8, so okay record. Kind of started slow and then picked it up at the end. First in the AFC South, that should say. I'll fix that right now. How about that? Live editing. Or not. First in AFC South. Fourth in the AFC. Not by record, but fourth seed. And then lost in the divisional round. So overall, I think a good season for the Jaguars after picking number 1 2 years in a row to make the playoffs. You now know you have a franchise QB. Notable additions, it's really no one. You got Dearness Johnson, which is fine running back depth. I liked it a little more when it was kind of just ETM. Then they drafted Tank Bigsby, so maybe makes this a little irrelevant. But looking at the losses, they didn't lose too much. You lose Dan Arnold, you have Evan Ingram, you franchise tagged him, so you have him for this year. Long term, who knows? Marvin Jones Jr. I feel like could be felt a bit. He had some good moments last year, but you do bring in Calvin Ridley mid-season last year. Doesn't play until this year because of the gambling suspension, so that's basically an addition, but not during this offseason. Smoot on the D-line and Taylor on the O-line are notable losses, and then Arden Key also on the defensive line. Looking at the draft class, they have a lot of players here. Brenton Strange could be your future at tight end. Anton Harrison in the first round, obviously, to fill a tackle spot. Tank Bigsby, who I mentioned earlier, to back up ETN. And then a few other guys looking down the list, just to point out a few. I like the Antonio Johnson pick, safety out of Texas A&M for them. Help out that secondary, and just other solid players down the board. Looking at their opponents next year, they do have the luxury of being in one of the easier divisions in football, the AFC South. However, they do play against the AFC North, which is going to be tough, but they also play against the NFC South, which I think is the easiest division in football to play against. So, a lot of winnable games, but then you also have the Chiefs, Niners, and Bills, which is that's tough. So there's some easy games, and then there's some rough games on the schedule. So looking at a potential ceiling I have is 14-3. I think you can win all those divisional games. You can sweep the NFC South. I think there is a world where you can sweep the AFC North. Jeez, I'm blanking. And then I do have them losing those 3 games to the Chiefs, Niners, and Bills. They could win those games. I don't imagine they have a better season than 14-3. I'd say that's their absolute ceiling, and even that feels a little high, but they have a lot of easy games and then some really tough ones. I mean, Bengals, Chiefs, 49ers, and Bills is not going to be fun for them. Should be fun to watch, though. Looking at the floor, I do think this is a good team, so still a winning record here. I think you could split the Colts and Texans. All 3 teams in your division have a rookie. All 3 other teams have a rookie QB. And I like Stroud. I like Richardson. Not a huge fan of Levis, so I think they could sweep the Titans. Bucks, Steelers, Falcons, Panthers, Saints should all be wins. But Bengals, Ravens, Chiefs, Niners, Bills, Browns could all be tough, and I could see those all being losses. As for my actual prediction, I do see them splitting the Texans and Colts, sweeping the Titans. You lose to the Bengals, but beat the rest of the AFC North. Sweep the NFC South. NFC South, sorry. And then beat the lose to the Chiefs, Niners, and Bills. I am off today. And that would be an 11-6 record, which I think is pretty good. Should win the division. Could make a deep playoff run. I don't know if I would say Super Bowl contending just because that AFC is really tough, but I will say Trevor Lawrence could be a sneaky MVP candidate. My pick first, Jalen Hurts, obviously, but Trevor Lawrence, I think, is a good sneaky MVP candidate that's in there. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys.